To get back to with the scenes, to put it kind of in perspective though, I mean, so basically there's like three main scenes kind of going on right now with the Wizard Rock, the nerdcore stuff, and then the video game inspired music kind of things. And for a long time actually, and it's only been recently that those three scenes have started to interact at all. The nerdcore and the VGIM has started interacting, partly because there's a lot of overlap. You know, there's a lot of gamers in nerdcore and stuff, and pretty serious gamers, and so there's been that overlap kind of there. So it's only just starting now to kind of, you know, it's not like there's this big wall and it's, you know,
Venn diagram, sort of three circles that we just need to.
Yeah, and I think they're moving towards each other.
Okay. Great. So, and I mean, based on this, you know, Matt has said that nerdcore is not dying and that their community is staying alive. I'm saying that our community is not dying, and you know, certainly, other than the music, you know, there are other aspects of the community that keep people coming back. You know, the people, the friends that you've made, things like that. That's obviously not something that's going to stop. If, you know, say tomorrow nobody else ever releases Wizard Rock, I'm still gonna, you know, run and tackle hug Tianna when I see her. So, but I mean, it seems like maybe we need to work a little harder. And as what Jen was saying during her presentation, with sort of MySpace breaking off and fracturing all of us into these different modes of communication with each other, you know, it's like every day I have to check Twitter, I have to check Facebook, I have to check my YouTube subscriptions. I have to figure out if I think Bandcamp is a better place for people to be putting their music, you know.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not even a question. Let no one to rest. It is.
And so, but I mean, I don't find, like you and Russ, you know, have your Bandcamp sites, and, you know, I appreciate that, but I haven't seen a lot of people necessarily moving everything over there. Is it just too time consuming?
Well, it is time consuming, but I do think as people find out about Bandcamp, like Alex,
I found out about like last week.
And
I'm just like a crack beans.
Every musician that finds it, like, totally craps themselves. Because you can upload your entire album, you can do direct downloads, and you get like it's like an amazing site, and it's just so user friendly compared to MySpace that just changed. Like
it's like MySpace, but there's no like HTML Tinkerbells in my comments section. So it's just so nice.
It's just
I'm okay with that. I don't miss it. That's why I don't even go on MySpace anymore. Tinkerbells.
But like also like I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I created this conference so that I could have like my best friends,
right,
and the people that I love all in one place. So not everyone can do that, or would want to. But yeah, we do have to work harder sometimes.
Right. But I mean, there are lots of events too that are even just, you know, like I realize a con is a huge undertaking. You know, programming and everything that goes into it it's just a lot of responsibility, and you have lots of volunteers and stuff. But there have been a lot of shows lately that have been sort of like
Events
a BFD, you know? Yeah. And so it's like, yes, I will fly to Kansas to go to Howl's and Horcruxes. You know, Kansas is a 3-hour flight, and then I have to drive
for HC84.
Cincinnati for HC84. I couldn't believe the amount of people that came there, but it was awesome. I mean, we had this big group of people from New York that came out. You know, there were people that were just like flying in to Cincinnati just so we could all hang out in a hotel for a night dressed in 80s gear and living right? And I mean,
without pants on.
See how long that one took.
But I mean,
risky business, guys. Big move.
I got it. Cool kids got it.
I know. I know, Freya. I'll never live that down. Don't do that. No, it'll be fun. Okay.
It's just one of these things where it's like, you know, I know that Aaron and Jenna put a ton of work into that, but you know, at the same time, like Aaron and Jenna managed to do that, you know, whereas how many volunteers and staff do you have for, you know, Expeditious? And you have like the backing of an entire HP group. So I think it's really neat that, you know, making these bigger shows, yes, it's a one-day event, and we all complain that we only have one day together, and that's sad. But at the same time, it makes it so that we can all get together. And do you see that continuing? I mean, is that something that you think people will keep doing, or?
I think so.
We were talking about this actually last night. That I think John and Melissa are here, but we were talking about how we should just get together every year and just have like a big pool party. Every year. I mean, the programming is great, the music is great, but like really, we all just want to hang out and have a beer. So we might as well just have a big pool party in Orlando every year. I think leaky pool party.
Yes.
I'm in.
2013.
Less overhead.
Right.
And stuff.
Less overhead. Just
I think Squibby just volunteered her farm.
She did.
But I think you've seen the shift towards shows that are big events, because you can't, when you make a show that's something like a destination, even if it's in Kansas or something, it's not necessarily in a destination place, it is easier to go, oh, I can request off work and get a plane ticket and da-da-da, because it's going to be a big deal because there's all this happening, all these people are going to be there.
It's so fun. I mean, I don't know. It reminds me a little bit of high school when you're going to go to a party and you don't really want to go, but then someone's like, oh, well, Freya's going. Well, Freya's going. And then if Freya's going, then like Sarah's going to go. You know what I mean? Like it just becomes this huge big thing. Like every band that gets added to a bill brings more people, and then they bring their fans, and then that like in turn like, well, I guess if like 25 of my friends are going, I should go to Manhattan, Kansas. What are we doing in Kansas? But at the same time, what does it matter where it is? It's the show itself. So if it's a show in New York City or a show in Manhattan, Kansas, you can have the same great time with the same people, which is something really unique.
Which I think is funny too when people are like, oh, well, I won't see you on tour because it's a half hour away from where I live. That's too far to drive. You're like, I just saw you in Kansas. You were a liar.
Argentina. Kansas.
And so, just kind of based on what you said about, leaky pool party, do you feel like the music is becoming less important in the community, and that
It
it's
doesn't matter. I don't know. I don't think. I think we should have pool parties. I mean, it's my platform. But I think that that the music has been a huge part of this. And I'm really happy to have been part of that. And I think it's that just being able to sing songs and know the words with the person standing next to you creates a community bond in a way that few other things could. So that's awesome. And I don't see the music itself going anywhere, but again, being completely honest, if you look at the tour schedules for this year, you're seeing a lot of bands that previously had massive summer tours not doing them. Like Harry and the Potters they announced a few shows and they're going to like Sweden or whatever,
Yeah.
like crazy people. But they used to do 3 months of summer tour, and now they're doing a tour to a wedding that they're going to, which is awesome. Obviously, this is all with the exception of Matt Giacomo, who's like a superhero of touring. But the Dracos aren't going out on the road this summer, so those are two big gaps. That I would say that the Lupins probably wouldn't be touring if it were not for Infinitus. We wouldn't be going on any kind of big tour, and at that we're going on a pretty pared down tour. So you're seeing a lot less of the bands that sort of built the touring idea of this community playing, and a lot more of other bands sort of picking up and stepping into that. So it's changing. I'm not sure if it's going to be a continuing thing or.
Okay. Right. Well, I'm curious to find out maybe from everybody else here is, do you see that eventually you're going to shift away from doing tours and just doing events? That touring will become something that kind of falls by the wayside and it just becomes a calendar of, because I see the big events kind of being on the upswing, but the touring kind of dropping off. When I'm compiling, I compile all the wizarding events for HP Ohio and in the and any big national events, I'm seeing a lot more national events, or what I would term national events, and less tour dates.